a world where machines are becoming smarter and more advanced than ever before, we are here to explore the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. Meet our host, Eric Anthony Jones, aka Ruler in Peace, as he dives into the world of AI, its benefits and its potential dangers. He, along with his future hosts and co-hosts, will be speaking to the people who are at the forefront of AI development and its early implementation stages. We'll show you how AI can revolutionize industries and transform our daily lives, and will confront the fears surrounding AI in order to take you beyond the fear of a world existing only of cold logic. By the time this journey is over, we will discover the power of AI and delve into the creative uses of AI, sparked out of the creative ingenuity unleashed within the depths of the human mind. Join us on this action-packed journey into the world of artificial intelligence, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. All right. It's another episode of Machine Minds. And so welcome to Machine Minds, the show where we explore the latest artificial intelligence and its impact on our world. I'm your host, Ruler in Peace, and today I'm joined by Micah Ray, journalist, movie director and producer, AI artist, and I can say so much more about Micah. Micah Ray, also known as Skid Row Crypto, is a pioneering cross-media journalist who is inquisitive about crypto-native lifestyle and culture, blockchain technology, Web3 ecosystems, and NFTs. He is an award-winning photographer and filmmaker and a managing editor for the dailydegen.io, a news and analyst platform for the crypto community. Micah Ray is interested in telling profoundly human stories of our time at the forefront of technological evolution in the age of AI. So Micah Ray, thank you so much for joining us today. To start off, can you please introduce yourself? I know I just gave a little intro, but I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background in AI.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. Good evening, Los Angeles time, 8 p.m. And I'll do a brief intro. I think that's, one of those fancy, eloquent, intros that people craft for themselves, or in many cases now, people actually utilizing AI to write their bios for them, interestingly enough. But I'll make it short and sweet and just say, I love technology. I love technological advancement as it relates to like culture and people and society. And I love AI. That AI fascination has grown since the AI boom has begun. And for someone who began writing about all this stuff at the boom of NFTs, it's only fitting that I now have some perspective on how to even approach some of the storytelling for AI now, simply because I've seen an industry explode technologically, and now I'm just watching another one just immediately after it.
Exactly. That's pretty fascinating, and I know exactly what you're saying. Having been on this journey with you for a minute, is like little disclosure, is like I do know is like Micah is like, and it is, like I said, it is such an honor to have you here, seriously, because for you listeners out there, you viewers out there, you don't understand that this is, from my perspective, a man of true integrity who really goes into storytelling, really goes into getting to the facts, is willing to scratch the surface, actually dig deep into the surface, and touch on topics that people are kind of nervous to talk on at times. So, like I said, I'm really, really happy to have you here. And so thank you for that introduction. So now let's talk about the potential risks of AI. What are your thoughts? Actually, I don't think I really want to go there. So what I want to say, actually where I want to go first before we talk about the risks, is that it's clear that you have experience in this field. So what do you see as the future of AI in your particular industry?
So that's an interesting question because even when I think about my industry, what is my industry really? I mean, even as a journalist, it's not what it used to be, right? So
Hmm.
AI is even helping me to scale and become a better journalist. So it's completely disruptive. The interesting thing though is when I started with what we used to call kind of consumer AI. It was more of the neural network algorithms like Deep Dream and stuff, which was more, it was machine learning, but it was basically able to take your images and mix them with other, you'd set different weights for these different aspects of the image, and then you could create some unpredictable result, but something you felt like you could kind of control. And it was so cool. And I remember selling art at the time and even having a gallery exhibition of my neural network art, which at the time was so groundbreaking. And I was learning to create my own data sets by using my own photography, uh,
Hmm.
and then creating my own kind of uh, lines, patterns, color, texture to blend with the photography to create these code paintings. Where now you fast forward, that was early 2021, and you now fast forward to prompting, because that's basically what it's become. All of those sort of individual parameters I needed to kind of set by low, medium, and high, and putting like a certain number there or something like that. And it was almost kind of its own code, but it was like
Hmm.
short code language for the machine learning. Now
Yeah.
we're just literally giving it a paragraph. And we can just speak, our thoughts and ideas in such a way that you realize we are all artists. We all have a creative mind's eye. It's just some of us found how to express it, like yourself through music, etc., or myself through writing, or someone who's a painter. We were fortunate enough to find something that became an avenue for that creative expression. But as everybody knows, that's not your only talent. Usually, when you're artistic, you can do a number of other things. But then there are these other people that have felt like, oh, I'm not an artist, I'm not artistic. Well, now machine learning can literally understand you better and pull from your mind's eye things that you could never draw or paint with your hand. It's now letting you express that to the world. So I
Hmm.
just think that where we're going now is like you'll just speak things into existence. And this is crazy because when you talk about speaking into existence, a lot of people are going to feel like, wait a minute, only God can do that, or only God through you can do this.
Hmm.
It is the power of positive thinking. Well, now you have a tool that just extracts it for you.
Gotcha. But hopefully, people who are in that in that mindset, will understand that even it's still a union. It's like there is that spark that's in us, and there's that the data set, the ability of AI to, like you just said, take what is within us and sometimes extrapolate it in ways that we never even envisioned as possible. But what I'm trying to say is it's still a partnership. It's a resource. It's a tool, at least for now. And so,
I like that. I like that way of looking at it. And a lot of people have kind of made that correlation to look, every time a new tool comes out, people think it's the end of the world for artists and, blah, blah, blah. But you quickly find out that like, well, you still have to be creative and you have to know you have to have some intent, right? To
mhm.
create something in the first place, to just be there. Like in photography, the running thing is, the rule number one, be there. Like you have to be there with the camera in your hand to snap, or you'll never get any photo. So like that intent starts it all. So this idea that you're intending to create something, it's just facilitating whatever that is. If you don't have anything to say, if you don't have anything to express, good luck.
Exactly. No, I 100% agree with you on that. And what I've noticed is, but what I've noticed though, with, just like every beginning of something, what I've noticed is a lot of people treat AI like it's like microwave cooking. They want instant, just put something in and it's just going to spit out whatever. But that's not how this stuff really works. Would you agree with me about that?
Yeah, it's funny because I believe it's the producer of Black Mirror, and it's such a cutting edge, series about technology and society, right? but the person being interviewed was like, oh yeah, I put in blank and I thought it would spit out Black Mirror scripts. And you saw basically by what he said he put in that he has no idea how these things work, how to prompt at all. Yet he's at the cutting edge of the TV interpretation of our world. It's so fascinating, right? So you have to be in this stuff, man, and you have to know what you're doing. And, you know, that's the only way you're going to get anything out. And that really comes with playing around with all of these tools. There's so many, you know.
Exactly. And that's what, you know, that's what this show is about, to get people to be aware, you know, just aware, because you can't be on the outside and know what's really going on. And when we talk about fear, you know, my understanding of fear, you've heard this before, fear is false expectations appearing real. So when you talk about the sky is falling because of AI, you know, we're both, you know, both of us have seen a lot in this world, and we do know how corrupt and crooked this world can be. But at the same time, I'm still of a strong enough belief that regardless of how people may close their minds and think of, you know, the end of the world like Terminator is like, and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that such a thing couldn't happen. I don't think that it's probable. It's possible, but not probable from my perspective at this particular point. But when people become aware, the ones that are ready become enlightened and become empowered. And that's one of the things that I really love about AI. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do like that. It becomes it's a facilitator, and it can it makes you a better performer at whatever it is you're trying to, whatever your deliverables are on the other side of interacting with it. It's going to optimize you, you know. It's interesting because we're all going to now need to have more entrepreneurial minds, but also the minds of a big picture mind in order to utilize AI probably to its best strength, because it needs to be able to push you, but you need to push it, and how to actually prompt AI and talk to machinery. It's obvious there's a language of it. People are starting to really understand it. What I don't like to see is so much sharing of prompting where people are no longer just exploring and just taking a chance, or just, you know, talking to it in a different way that they don't think anybody has before. We need to continue to do that and not take too many shortcuts.
I agree. That's the biggest thing about all of this. And it's actually the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur or being a creative. And so there are no shortcuts. I mean, when you do shortcuts, it's like you put out shortcut crap, basically. And it's what distinguishes those that are truly genius in their field versus those who are just garbage in, garbage out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, prompting as a career. But the idea is, if this is the beginning and AI is performing as it is and delivering so much, you know, from motion graphic stuff to, you know, just like, man, just a myriad of tools, it's only going to get easier to use as time goes on, not harder. So I don't like this idea of people wanting to inject themselves now as the middlemen to extract from people who maybe are intimidated to use it or whatever. All right, pay me, I'm going to do this, I know how to do this. Like, I believe everyone should think more about being the creator yourself, and you know, that's really where it's at. And everyone should just like drop all the fear, like you're saying, of just engaging with this technology, because now you don't even have to type anymore. Like you can just talk into it now. It's like, that's where we're at. So all of the stuff that might have intimidated people before, it's all gone. You know, unless they believe all this other hype that the media is saying, as if we're walking right into Terminator series, you know, or something. And it's unfortunate, because if more humans get involved, we have more informed opinion, how to even ask our governments how to react to this stuff. Because like, we'll be a more informed public.
I agree with you 100% with that. Now, you know, when we first started off about how, you know, what you see in the future, because I know you, and I know, like you said, you have so many things. You have your fingers in so many things. It's like I'm wondering, have you used AI at all with regards to, the work that you do in directing and producing movies?
So that's interesting. That is an area that so far, until I reach a certain draft of my script, I might then begin to play with AI and have AI analyze my script and give me, some advice, suggestions, maybe how to improve it or compare it to other maybe successful stories that are out there now that I've created it without being contaminated by other movies. Maybe it's time to see what other ones work that's kind of like mine that I haven't even thought of, where I
Uh,
can perhaps see a lane to putting it out. I believe AI can do a lot of these things for me. As a journalist, I've been using it to call, like, say, for instance, this conversation is could be easily uploaded. AI is going to find all the major keywords and pull like quotes out and help you structure and rearrange it. It can also, of course, give you your transcript. And then there's other things you can do, of course, on the effect side where you can maybe have the words that I'm saying pop up on the screen so it's more lively to look at. It's just really amazing that AI is doing all these things that it used to be like a production or graphics department or a bunch of interns to transcribe stuff for you or whatever. Now you have a team. So everyone has they've got a media team, a communications department, if they want to utilize AI in that way.
exactly. It still requires us to get structured and focused. And I'm one of those people personally who, you know, I do have a hard time sometimes getting really focused and structured. So, but I would really like to, and I'm still striving as I go through the different tools to figure out how to really automate and really help me be more structured so that I can really accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. There's so much that I want to accomplish. And, I'm believing and I'm hoping that at this stage in my life, at this stage in my personal development, where I can't afford to go out and hire all these different people to do all these different things. And yet I'm also so busy that I haven't made enough time yet to know more than a few different tools. But I want to get to the point where there is an easy way to say, okay, I have a big picture of what I want to do, and I'm going to use this tool, this tool, and this tool, and hopefully it will be able to make me more efficient and more able to do the things I need to do until I can afford to hire a staff. It's like, are you there yet in that capacity, or can you see that coming along, or how far away do you think we are as like from average Joe being able to have a big picture idea, be able to have clear ideas, and be able to use AI in a way that makes it easier for them to accomplish their vision and their mission?
I mean, I think we're here. I think the next phase of what's going to happen with all this machine learning advancement is that it's obvious that, I think I heard some stat that a new AI model or tool was created every like 45 seconds or something just amazing, because all this venture capital money is going into the investment of, building these ideas for people. But it's going to be sort of the equivalent of these sci-fi movies where people have these like personal robots, but
Uh,
AI will be like the assistant for your life and your business in a way that it's going to remind you of things. It's going to send out emails for you. It's going to follow up with people, because once it understands how you talk and the language of your communication by scouring all your emails and all your personal messages, it's really about making sure the state is safe, of course. But once AI knows you, it can carry out a lot of mundane tasks that we as human beings just don't want to do.
mhm.
They're tedious. We don't have the time, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll start to see exponential growth with like your ideas, because now you'll have an AI that will train other AI models in all these areas that you need for these departments and to keep you organized. And hey, he walked out of that meeting and we recorded it. So now we were already reaching out to 8 people with the bullet points of what came from that while he went to have dinner and, do the real human to human stuff. Your AI team did that. We're going to see that. And it won't be about you coding that. It'll be about you probably buying a suite that is kind of, how like back in the day, companies would buy like Salesforce or something, and
exactly
like database type systems for them to manage sales. I see that as being what it'll be. You'll be getting a suite of like AI tools, and once you bring them in and you give them permissions and the whole setup, it will just do so much. That is pretty much here around the corner, and it kind of means that we can be more human. The technology is going to make us more human, because a lot of stuff that's just, unfortunately, it's jobs too. The mundane jobs the machines are going to do them.
Yeah, for
sure. That's a whole nother conversation about, well, how will society feel when 90% of work isn't necessary and we will not be defined by our jobs anymore, because then everybody's a loser because you have no job, because it won't be that. It'll be something else. So society's going to have to get its head around the idea that machines are going to take care of us, and we're going to have more free time to be people of leisure and make art and do fun stuff together.
I concur with that on many levels, and looking forward to it, because what I do know is I have all these, as an artist myself, I have all these projects, all these things I want to read, so that then my brain can then, the synapses can fire and everything else like that. And between that and my spirituality, and I can tap into the ether and then create this incredible music. But I don't have the time right now to even digest the things that I want to digest. And if AI gets to that point, which is interesting that you mentioned that, the sweet stuff, because I was thinking, like, for example, Chat GPT and several of the other programs, they're all free right now, but they're not always going to be free. They're using us to help groom them, and then the price tag comes. And the question will be, what will the price tag be, and will it be balanced in a way where everybody still can really have access to, or is it going to be a situation where the price point becomes something that, once again, those who have is like can, and those who are striving are locked out? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be both. And what I mean is, they're always going to need to train new models. So they're always going to give us new tools, and they're always going to be the beta versions of what ultimately becomes quite a premium product. The most fascinating thing to me right now with AI at all is in the realm of precision medicine. They are literally saying that a child born today will only either choose to die or just not have access to what will keep them alive, because they're reaching a point where we're utilizing AI now with precision medicine to basically be completely attuned to your body to prevent whatever cancer is more prone to come in your life, based on it constantly reading your bio data and just like monitoring you for life. And because it is AI, it can now be like your proxy, and it can keep you young for so long that as advances continue to come, you're just going to be able to you're kind of achieving immortality through the idea that our bodies are going to either be the organs will all be replaceable, and or your genetic code is so optimized that you're aging so slow that at like 100 years of human life, you're looking like you're 35. We're kind of reaching that point. And that's what's really fascinating. A child today may only choose to die.
And I've heard that before. I've actually even heard that for people who are alive today, if they can just make it for another, 50 years or so, even, that they may never die as well. Maybe the body, but with regards to the mind and the DNA, there's so many advances going on so many levels that, once again, I can't keep my finger on it, but I'm definitely interested in it. And so
I joke with people about it, but I'm like, we can't be obsessed with all of it, because come on, when those breakthroughs happen, do you think we're going to get the emails? The price point for that stuff, you know, So you're going to have to be quite wealthy and already looking for it, with your fingers in the right places where you get that email and it's like, hey, we broke through. It might cost you 50 million, 100 million, but if you're a billionaire, wouldn't you pay it?
Well, and I am a billionaire, and so
Here you
I
go.
have I've already put that into the universe, and so I remember when I realized that, oh, I'm not a millionaire, I'm actually a billionaire. So my mindset's there. So it's like, and with your skills, brother, honestly, I'm not trying to be facetious. It's like I actually think you'll be there too, and so and you may have already done the scoop, is like, and found out and got the inside scoop beforehand. So that's what I'm believing for you, okay? And so I'm gonna put that out there in the universe for you. All right.
Well, the funny thing about it, if it's anything like influencer culture today, then as long as you're, on somebody's cool list or whatever, then you do get that email. It's almost like the invite to the new app now.
Yeah.
Who do I know that can get me that thing?
Yeah. Exactly. And so now, before I leave this topic and move to the next, I just want to make sure, are there any other areas where you have your fingers in that you think about AI and its future, how it's going to impact those things?
Well, I do believe the health side of it is super impactful, but that was already discussed.
Mhm.
And the idea of even movie making, like you asked me, I recently saw some footage. Someone has created this AI movie using ML Runway, is it? Um, but it's just fascinating. It reminds me of when that movie 300 came out, and it was made with this whole different animation style, and it saved a bunch of money, and it kind of revolutionized that aspect of filmmaking.
Mhm.
I heard about a lensless camera, which is basically like, as long as you hit the button, any angle or area, closeness, focal length, anything, you can all decide later. It just captures everything around it, and so you can make 100 different photographs from that because you're just choosing what perspective you want.
Uh,
So it is just reaching a point, man, where, oh my God, like, imagine movies then will just literally be that too. You'll just talk the movie and it'll make these scenes for you with this character you came up with. So what happens to the studios? Like,
exactly.
there's no need for them at all. Like,
Uh,
you know, and so I do see the future also being, well, now mixed with this augmented reality and virtual reality, we can now really more go inside the story. So if I think of that concept with the camera now, I'm thinking in the future, in the movie itself, you can decide if in the Spider-Man scene, you can decide if you want to be on the balcony with your friend as Spider-Man fights right over your head, or if you wanted to be in the little coffee shop when he saved the car from landing on top. You're
uh,
just deciding where you want to be in the scene, and you'll just be able to move around in different perspectives, and maybe find things like, oh well, now if you can find the paper bag with the red dot on it before this street gets tore up, you'll get this extra thing by this company or something. I really, really see the idea that we'll just, when they say immersive, like, we are literally going to be inside the stories.
that's why I need to continue to create immersive musical experiences so that I can fuse myself into such creative peoples as the technology grows. But but I hear exactly what you're saying. Now, what I want to do now is I want to remember what I when I was talking before, is like I kind of jumped into the risk. And so I'd like to talk about the potential risks of AI, and what are your thoughts on the safety and ethical concerns around AI?
I mean, it is tremendous risk because humans are going to human, and I believe that even when AI Chat GPT was being discussed in clubhouse rooms, there was a geeky group of guys that were really like challenging the models and seeing how like deviant they could be if they could push it to break its own rules. there's always that bit of humanity that wants to just destroy everything, right? So, they were even testing it. Hey, is it going to show me how to build a bomb? I just want to know, well, okay, so if we're at that stage with the early adopters, imagine what happens when it gets in anybody's hands, right? So, yeah, there's going to be, crazy stuff, because if it can code for you and it can build a website, or it can design, like the more it's able to do execution wise, it will just be able to execute that for someone that wants to maybe do harm to a lot of people, or like anything. And so I really don't know what that means for the future. It sounds really scary, but I do feel at some point, even with art, the way the conversation talks about, well, who owns it and who's the author, AI is going to have to be detected in some way, and we're going to somehow tie to knowing who people are that made it. Like there's going to be accountability. You won't just be able to throw these things out there and without accountability. And I think that's the way that they're going to keep all this from just totally getting out of control. And I think there'll be licenses of levels and things, to a degree, And there's also just biased AI, that because humans are building it in such a way, or maybe either by intent or unintentionally infusing into the machine learning biases and racism and who knows what, there's always the potential for that too, So it's I guess the question is there going to be enough good AI to detect and thwart and whatever the bad AI? And is that an endless battle in the new frontier for like national defense and everything? I don't know.
Yeah, that's really intriguing that you say that, and I don't know the answer to that either. But as you were talking, I was also thinking about, let's take the U.S. government, for example, and let's talk about the NSA. Just wanted the NSA, okay? And the computing power that they have and the things that they do to, one, allegedly protect our way of life, but also, we know that they have abused that. They've abused their tools to snoop on us more than we ever dreamed possible. And now you take, and I already know that they're using AI for various different things, but where do you think, what are your thoughts as far as the government and governments? Is like governments that are more malicious than ours, but governments in general always wanting to control its citizenship, always wanting to have access to us. Where do you see the potential safety issues there? And then on top of that, then take someone like Zuckerberg, etc., or even Google. I mean, Google comes across as benevolent, but that's just something that they made us feel. I'm not quite sure who is benevolent anymore, to be honest. But I would like your thoughts on that.
It's definitely treacherous terrain, and I would include it, even if it's not a government, it could just be interest groups that are highly funded and people who want to sway public opinion on any number of things, whether political or not. It's really crazy, because whatever Cambridge Analytica was doing that really disrupted things and showed how technology can blend with social apps and really like move the needle about thoughts and ideas. Now with AI being here, that can be exacerbated a lot. I don't, again, we're kind of at this thing where if so much technology can be used to do such evil, where's the good? And I'm somewhat sometimes discouraged by the idea that the venture capital it takes to build things is usually about, well, how do I profit at the end? And so the idea of social good and this technology, I just don't think what we're doing is enough. There's so much potential for ideas to be, hive-minded and through decentralization. And I don't know, but the answer really is to have advancements that can, again, detect and thwart this stuff. I don't know, where else we go other than, governments, even there are parts, in Asia where there's a lot of social scoring and, you know, ways that may in fact keep you from ever advancing to your, you know, dreams and ambitions anymore. If a score is always involved, like a credit score or something, you know, it would really take away the real, at least the idea of what the American dream is, if it isn't gone already. So like the idea of governments deploying this stuff and knowing more about us and being able to like really take that data and put it into various like reports and ways of looking at you and understanding you and how to manipulate you or whatever. It's scary stuff, man. It really is. But then we're giving all this data away. We're still doing it. You mentioned Google being friendly, you know. Yeah, people perceive some of these companies to be predatory when news comes out, like Facebook and whatever. They've been hit bad with media, and they deserve it. You know, some of these companies have been just really manipulative and lying and everything. But maybe through this decentralized stuff, the blockchain and everything, we can really build tools that actually do the opposite thing. Say, for instance, we needed a social media tool that really, really awesomely connected you to other people that actually thought and believed the same way you do and had the same values. And you didn't even know they were into this kind of coding. And it's a perfect coding for what you're trying to build over here with your music and try to execute this contract on chain. And the AI did it for you. Instead of bringing you stuff that's going to stress you out and make you argue with people and all this other stuff, because it's mastered that already. Like they use that to just create tension and manipulate people and make algorithms do crazy stuff. Well, what if we built something that did the opposite? And every day it maybe gave you just the right, you know, inspiring words for the day. And like it understood you more and saw that your mood was a certain way by the things you were posting. And it actually pulled you aside, brother, you know, rein it in today, relax. I see your sentiment meter's a little in the red today. Just chill out, put the device down, you know. Like it would be awesome, man. But who's going to build it? Would it make money for somebody? You know, that's what it's about right now. And it's really unfortunate. If some way we could overcome that and get away from venture capital driving all the innovation, we might actually make really awesome tools for society.
When you say that, I think of Steve Wozniak. Who would do something like that? Steve Wozniak would do something like that. Would you agree with it? I that's my belief. I mean, is like he would have the heart even with the money. Is like because, well, actually, I won't go there because this is about the show, and I'll just leave Steve out of the conversation for now. But brother, is like I really want to say thank you for sharing your insights with us today. And before we wrap this up, could you share with us a specific project or accomplishment related to AI that you're most proud of?
Well, the one thing that I was able to do was feature an AI artist for one of my investigative articles about a particular sort of scammer and a chain of events that was affecting, you know, the cryptocurrency market and manipulation of it, you know. And I did some investigative work and I wanted to put it out. And then I really thought about, well, what should the lead image be? We're kind of in this space where a lot of people are anonymous. You don't really know who they are really, or maybe you're worried about getting sued by, you know, trying to call somebody out. And so I worked with an artist called Jeff Jag, and I basically said, this is what the article's about. This is who it's about. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he gave it to AI, and the AI turned out with this figure running with a bag of money with an angry mob chasing him. And it was perfect for the article that was calling this guy out. It really like put it in human perspective. Instead of everyone being usernames and stuff, you're like just seeing this angry mob chasing him down the street, and he's just running with a bunch of money. And it was perfect. And so I realized AI could really be used to illustrate like an article even, and create an image that doesn't exist out there. So you don't have to use some image people have seen already of somebody. You can really have it do something cool and also kind of fit what you're talking about, you know? And so I'm started to do this now. I'm going to put a little group of AI artists together, which, it is literally the feature image. So they'll get credit. There'll be a link connecting to their portfolio, or even if they make an NFT out of it, it can point there. So every time I share it in Telegram or on Twitter or wherever, when the thumbnail pops up, you see underneath the lead image, designed by AI art, designed by Jeff Jag. So they get this credit and a little bit of boost everywhere the story goes. And then Jeff Jag on that day, he basically tweeted kind of how he created it. He said he used Midjourney and Photoshop and Wacom digital painting with like stable diffusion, So it's a way to kind of show what tools are also being deployed by different people, just simply by every time someone will probably use totally different tools to create something. And so it's just one way I can kind of bring it into reality, how it's being used in a fun way, and feature some artists, and then at the same time help my articles get a little more mileage, because that lead image really draws your attention. It's really worked well when it's kind of in the feed. I noticed. I'm really, really happy about that. And I think in the future, it is going to be kind of about that. I'm creating images that really catch the eye to get people to even stop and want to click anymore,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People's attention and what's going to grab their attention is always interesting. And Jeff Jag is so creative anyway,
Genius.
So yeah, he really is. And so haven't spoken with him in a minute, and so I have to reach out. But keep me in the loop on this, because I would like to know more about that. So just on the definitely keep me in the loop on that. So lastly, is there anything else you'd like to add about AI or your work in this field? Just closing thoughts as we're winding down. Just this is your chance to throw everything in the kitchen sink out there if you want to.
I would say, we kind of touched on what I would call AI for like wellness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, before the interview started, I was talking to you about really wanting to like really try to make meditation a habit, the 21 days, really to make it become something I can really do regularly, and it's going to improve my life. And we talked about quality of life. I'm really looking for AI to really make us better people and make us feel better and help us heal some wounds and trauma, and like really counteract a lot of things that like our life experience has done to us. Mm-hmm. Or even the way that they say that trauma is passed through DNA, like I'm really it's an area that I want to look into that I can't talk about enough, because I haven't learned enough, so I know that this show is all about machine minds and AI, and I encourage you to find some of these stories if you haven't already. I know that this is early in your exploration of this. I believe this is episode 4, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, I think it's an area that people are going to be drawn to, because it's one area that no matter what you think of AI or the technology, if it's doing good for people, everyone loves that kind of a thing, So I'm going to be kind of looking there, because it's what matters if you live forever if you're not well in the head,
Exactly.
Whatever. Like that's the worst thing, to be healthy, but just be lost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, I agree with you, and it's probably something I should be doing research on my own, because that I'm very passionate about mindfulness, about wholeness. I'm ruler in peace, and so what do I want? It's like I want, my motto is "No stay ipsum carpe diem," know thyself and seize the day. So anything that I can do to help people know themselves better, so that they can seize the day. And that starts, it's like with a self-evaluation. That starts with being able to wake up in the morning and breathe and be happy and grateful and appreciative of the fact that, yesterday, the night before, 180,000 people woke up that did not wake up today, but you were one of the people who did wake up today. And there's a lot to be grateful and thankful for. So even in you framing things the way that you did, I'm actually going to go back to this episode and just listen to our conversation, both the beginning and this part, to reflect on where I can think, what I can do, and how I can contribute. And so, because I believe it's so important. And in the end, I just want people to have a sense of well-being, a genuine sense of well-being. And it's a journey to find it, but I've been on that journey myself personally, and I find it more than rewarding. And you've seen what I've been through over the last year or so, a little longer than that, and where I've ended up through this journey, which you and I will have a conversation more about offline. So I really appreciate the different things that you've brought up in this episode, because the bringing up the human element from health, healing, growth. I'm all about empowerment, inspiration, teaching, learning. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this show. So you've touched on some things, and someone else did as well in a previous episode. And it makes me smile that the people that I'm bringing on to this show is like have that in their heart and put that into not just into the atmosphere, the universe, but put it in a platform, this platform, where who knows, someone's going to be listening, and they're going to hear, and they're going to be very grateful for the information that you shared, just like I'm grateful right now. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm wishing you well in all things, including this new Machine Mind series that you're doing. I'm looking forward to seeing who your guests will be in the future. And it's just a great discussion. It's one that is really mature. And I think that's important for what's happening in the space with so much influencer culture and people really having the most reach, but having the least amount to say. It's really unfortunate,
Yeah.
So it's good for the culture of all of this technology where it meets humanity. And, AI, I just put in its own category because I don't believe it'll be technology anymore at some point.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying there, brother. And so, this has been another really wonderful episode, and I do have some surprises of people that are coming down the pike, and a lot of these people have really big hearts and extensive experience on so many levels. So I hope that you'll be tuning in from time to time, whether you catch the live broadcast or whether you catch it on the replays. But for now, I'll just say that that's all the time that we have for today. But thank you again, Micah. It's like the next episode is going to be on July 2nd, same time, same bat channel, so to speak. And so thank you for joining us on Machine Minds. And I am looking forward to continuing to go down this journey with you. I want to thank the audience for tuning in. So like I said, join in next time on July 2nd, and we will continue to explore the fascinating world of AI. So on that, brother man, is like I'm going to take us out with a little bit of music, and then you and I can continue on the other side.